Welcome. I'm your host, Diane Esri, and you're listening to the Leading Ladies Showcase, where we talk shop with women who are leading and influencing out in the world about their journey of leadership, wisdom gained, and their thoughts around up-leveling their career or reimagining it in their pursuit of purpose, passion, and fulfillment in life. And in today's episode, my guest is Lynn Herkes, and we are talking about how to excel as a leader who's introverted. And so, Lynn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So glad that you're here. So, Lynn, you have like a really interesting background that I wanted to share with folks. You are a business engineer, project manager, website developer, and marketing strategist. And your company is called Wow Success Team. And you work with small business owners and solo entrepreneurs and develop specialized engineered solutions for any of the challenges they're having as they're growing and scaling their businesses, including things like their time or their technology or their teams. And you provide a whole suite of services for your clientele. And you and I came to connect through a networking group and got onto some additional topics besides what we do. And I learned some very interesting things about you and thought, wow, Lynn would be really great to come on the Leading Ladies Showcase. So we wanted to talk today about introversion and leadership and what that means and the challenges that that presents and the ways that that we can excel in spite of it or even because of it. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of speak a little more about what you do and how you kind of came to this place. So tell me a little bit more about Wow Success Team.
So you nailed it. And Wow Success Team is exactly what you said. We supply custom solutions for growth challenges for the very small companies. And we have a whole suite of services that we offer. So you nailed it on the head. That's what we do.
And so tell me how you kind of got to where you are today. What's been your journey through your career?
Okay, I'll try to make it short. So I actually was an aerospace engineer for 16 years. And at the same time, I ran my own business. I was a solopreneur, had a business for over 25 years and decided to exit aerospace engineering, retire early and go have some fun. And that went well, but I ended up working for a bunch of other jobs because I wanted to, keep working and find stuff to do. And the last job I ended up at before I started this business was a luxury property management company where I got hired as an admin because coming from engineering and with master's degrees and living in Hawaii, you don't get a lot of job opportunities because you're too expensive. Anyways, I met their vendors that worked on the property who all had family-owned businesses, small family-owned businesses, and they got to know me and I got to know them and they started asking me to help them. So I took everything I knew and I helped them for free for about a year until a couple of them said, hey, we'd like to pay you to do this thing or pay you to do that thing. And I said, ooh, that'd be fun. So I started this business about 9.5 years ago, helping very small businesses in Hawaii grow.
That's awesome. That's great. And so you don't live in Hawaii anymore, right?
I don't.
Okay. Where are you now?
I'm in Ecuador.
And you're not vacationing in Ecuador.
No,
You
I
live
live
there.
in Ecuador.
So tell us how that came about.
Well, my husband wanted to retire, and my business had not caught on yet, and the property management company went under, and so I said, we need to live somewhere a little cheaper because we don't have that big of a retirement budget. So we had been to Ecuador and we loved it, so we decided to make the leap and move to Ecuador, and we've been there ever since, and we love it.
That's great. How long has it been?
6 years.
Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. So, in the course of, this, you really have a lot of different kinds of experiences, and different, what you could have said were lots of different career paths that you could have gone down, and did go down. What would you, what is it about your personality that you felt like introversion was a challenge?
The biggest thing that I have as a challenge as an introvert is sales and getting the customer to be a customer, getting the potential customer to be a customer.
Yeah.
So I could talk one-on-one all day about how to do what I do, how to fix their problems, if you get me on something I have in my wheelhouse, I'm good. But being able to actually close a sale or convince someone or try to get someone on board, I was losing everybody. I was not good at it at all.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of times with entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, the sales piece, that's an extension. Your business is an extension of who you are. And so in most cases, so it's just part of you. So you really feel like you're tooting your own horn, and it can seem way out of your comfort zone.
Yes, not only that, but asking for money for what you do is a tough challenge as well. And knowing how much you should price yourself at to show that you still have value, and being able to talk about the value that you're creating, things that I know now that you offer to make them want to come on to your team and work with you, versus just talking about what you're good at or what you can do or what service you offer, which doesn't equate to a sale. It doesn't equate to a new customer.
Right, right. What did you find, tell me about a situation that occurred, that sticks out in your memory.
So I was transitioning. So I used to do a lot of websites, but I realized that even though I like doing websites, I'm really good at websites. What I really like to do is solve problems. So I was transitioning from purely doing websites to solving problems in the marketing, solving problems with the business operations. And I got a client who I really wanted because they had a lot of money, and they had a problem that I could solve. And I got into the discovery call and I told them all about how I could solve their problem.
You're an engineer, so of course.
Exactly. And I'm an introvert and I'm kind of a nerd. And I told them all about it, and they went snoozing about half an hour in. And I sent them the proposal, and they never contacted me back.
Wow. So what was your takeaway from that?
Well, that's when I realized that I was doing something wrong. That
Uh-huh.
even though I had all this that I could give back to potential people, clients, or whatever, to help them grow their business, because I really do want to help people grow their businesses. You can't rattle on. People don't want to really know how you do it. They want to know that you can do it and that they can trust you to get it done.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So when this happened, this wasn't the first time. It was just maybe this was the first time that it really stood out to you that this was become
So
an issue?
it was the first time that I realized what the problem was, I guess, my own
Yeah.
problem. So I realized I had a problem. So it wasn't the first time. It was the biggest client that I had had up to that point,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time I tried to close a sale. It was just the first time I realized why I didn't
Yeah.
get that
Yeah.
client.
That must have been like kind of soul crushing because you really were hoping for that.
It was, but it was better than all the other times I had gotten other clients where they never called me back and I didn't even know why. I thought my pricing was too high, or I thought maybe I said something wrong, or I don't know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So this one, for some reason, I realized, oh my gosh, I just gave away the whole farm and told them how to do everything. And they probably went off and hired someone else to do all that.
So you mentioned that they got kind of snoozy, meaning I'm taking that you meant that they kind of like started to lose interest in what you were talking about. And
Yeah.
you were telling them all of the details that are like, you know, a nerd's dream, right? All of the things, and not like whatever the bottom line outcome, you know, that they were looking for in the conversation. So when you got off the phone and they didn't call, and were you feeling like it was your style, your you know, your delivery? What did you feel like it was partly that and partly what you were talking about? What was it that really, you know, stood out to you?
So actually, it was kind of funny because it was a week later when I hadn't heard from them, and I emailed them about, hey, did you have a chance to look at the proposal? And they said, sorry, we're not interested. Thank you very much. And I went back to my husband. I was just crushed, and we were talking about it, and he goes, well, what did you say? What did you do? And I said, well, I told him everything I was going to do, and I was really excited, and they were really fun, and I thought it would be really excited to work on the project. He's like, well, maybe you talk too much
Mm.
about what it was. And I'm like thinking it wasn't really crushing at that point. It was like the light bulb went on and I said, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing wrong. Now, I didn't know how to solve it at that time, but I
Yeah,
realized that what made me realize, yeah, I'm not going to get any clients if I keep giving away everything in the
they already
discovery.
know about. Yeah, yeah. Then they have no reason to seek your services, right? Because you just
Well, and
basically sent them off on. I mean, they don't realize what they're not getting. Um,
And
yeah, by
even if
not
they
working
think
with
you
you. But
might be
yeah,
really good, even if they think you might be really good because you have all this information, they're like, I don't want to know all that. I just want you to fix it.
right. Yeah, yeah. What did you do? What was the like? What was the journey back to?
You're gonna laugh. So I tried to help myself by figuring out how to reword things. And I did that for about 6 months. I tried to come up with like a template of what I would say and what I wouldn't say. And I had some success, but I was really nervous because I'm quite a big introvert. I could spend all day by myself and be totally happy. So I was trying something new with a template, so it was quirky, and I didn't get that many clients. So I finally got a coach. And it just broke down. Like I found a very specific type of coach that just helps with sales problems. So that actually helped tremendously.
When you say quirky, just you thought that it was what people would want to hear that would sell the idea and the proposal, but it still was too
So I
quirky.
tried, yeah, I tried to make a template that didn't give away, I looked up some free things, and I looked up some information, and they said, you have to make them feel like you're showing them value and you're giving them the benefits and how they will feel. But I just couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't. I mean, I can figure out how to, create an app or something like that, but I couldn't
Yeah,
figure out how to do that.
yeah,
So quirky meant that it was pieces of what I should be doing, but it wasn't quite right. It was still
Mm,
dirty and
yeah, yeah,
a little too salesy because I didn't know how to not be salesy and close a sale.
yeah, yeah. And what did salesy feel like?
Ugh.
Right. This is something that I myself have come through also as an entrepreneur, and you know how to do the services that you offer, but self promotion, your business promotion, AKA self promotion, is rather foreign, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel comfortable, and it's not about not being okay stepping outside your comfort zone, although that can be part of it. I think that it's coming from such a place that we're just not used to, and it does feel like icky, and the used car, you know, routine. So and so yes, I think that you describe really a typical kind of story of people feeling like, well, it must be me, or it must be my prices. And I know, I've had that thought. And I've thought, well, I'm just boring people to death when I open my mouth. So tell me, like, what were some of the pearls of wisdom that you learned, either through trial and error, through your own practice, or through your business coach, that made all the difference?
I think the thing that made the most difference was, first of all, to realize that I don't really need to talk hardly at all.
Right.
I need to listen, which
Mm.
is funny because as an engineer, when I do the discovery calls with a client to find out what their problems are in their business, I do a lot of listening and note taking. But when I get to the sales part, I was talking too much. So what I've had to teach myself, and with the help of the coach, is stop talking, keep listening, and ask questions that bring out how they would feel if they had a solution for that problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the coolest thing on the planet was that I really didn't have to close the sale. All I had to do was say, well, I see that you're having a lot of trouble with this. If I could fix that, how would you feel? Great. If that's what you want to do, let's set up a call. This is how much I charge. And I get so many more close. My close rate is like 50% now.
That's fantastic. That's great.
And I feel comfortable doing that
Yeah.
because I'm not selling.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many parallels, even though what you do and what I do are quite different in a lot of ways. And I think that's, I'm a nurse by trade. And so it's all about assessment. It's all about listening to the body, figuratively and literally. It's about asking questions, taking a history. You don't know what is in front of you until you get all of the information, um, until you gather all of the information. So it is a listening process. It is learning what your customer wants. And I think business leaders, over and over time have emphasized this point that we really listen to our customers. We really know what they're looking for, what they want. And we tend to get as um, as particularly as small business owners and entrepreneurs, we tend to get into this, like, there might be this feeling of like, who am I to think that I can do this? So you feel like you have to overgive, and you have to provide all of this justification or rationalization or validation of your, of your expertise and skill and value. And you're right, you don't need to provide all of that information you need to listen to the customer. And I mean, they're going to ask you the questions that they want to ask to find out if you're the right fit for them. But a lot of times it just comes down to like, hey, I really like Lynn, or I really like Diane. She really understood where I was coming from. And that's half the battle. So yeah. Yeah. So I think that that's really key is, like you said, is to stop talking and to really stop and listen and ask those um, evocative questions to get, and have a light bulb go off in their head too. I know that's what I do a lot also. And that's helpful. That really, whether they choose to work with you or not, that's super helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, what's the future look like? What's your client's pain point now, and your clients, where do they see themselves? What do they want to see instead? And can you provide that service?
Yep.
So tell me, what is it about the work that you're doing that really lights you up, that you're passionate about?
I love problem solving, and so like I said, I was in aerospace, and when I was in aerospace, I did large projects. I had huge teams, well, not huge, but 50, 30, 40, 50
Yeah.
people in the company that I worked with. It was a very big company, and I loved that. That was my sweet spot. That got me out of my introversion. I was just a natural at project management and project engineering. And my goal, from as of 2 years ago, well, 1.5 years ago, was to get to that point again, where I had a team and I was the project manager, project engineer, running the team to solve the client's problems, to make them happy, giving them the best service possible. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been building that team, and that lights me up. It lights me up to listen to a client's problems and say, we can do that. If that's what you want, we can do that, and get the team on it and have everybody working together to solve that problem and have it get implemented and have that client smile and go, oh my gosh, I didn't think this was possible.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. What is the legacy that you want to leave in, from a career perspective, and even just from this life?
Ooh, big question. I don't know if I think about it in terms of a legacy. Since I never had kids, I'm an animal person. I think what I would like to do is build something that, I forget the word for it, but that can carry on after me, solving solving the same problems, so that something that runs so well that it attracts clients to keep coming back to have these unique business problems solved. I know everyone has the ability to go out and get off the shelf solutions to their business growth.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes those things don't work, or sometimes they don't play well together. And what I want to do is create a company that can not only offer those off the shelf things, but if you come to us with things that you need a different solution for, and those off the shelf problems don't have a solution, we want to be able to have you come to us no matter what your budget is, and we can find something that'll work for you.
Yeah. What are the majority of your clientele, or what are the key industries that your clientele are members of? What type of
So
work do they do?
I don't have an industry niche. I'm kind of different. I've kind of been bullheaded about that. So pretty stubborn about it, but I do have a size niche, and my best clients are usually solopreneurs, or start out as solopreneurs, who have grown enough to be overwhelmed, and they don't have the bandwidth to figure out how to get that next step.
Yeah.
That's my best client.
Yeah. Yeah. What your personal perspective is on the future of women in business, women as leadership positions. What's your
Ah,
forecast, Lynn?
well, I'm not going to call it a forecast, but I've always been stubborn about women. And in fact, when I joined the aerospace company that I worked for, I was one of two out of 250 engineers. And
Wow. Yeah,
they,
that doesn't seem like that's a female dominated profession.
and they were hiring us because of the laws. They weren't hiring us because we were good.
Yeah.
And I made it a mission to make sure that I wasn't going to be walked all over and treated any different.
Good for you.
And so I've always had that streak about me. I'm pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
And I think that my goal has always been, no matter who I meet along the way, whether it's male or female, that they realize that if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And don't give up just because someone's treating you differently because you're different. So, and there's help. There's help out there. There's people who will support you. There's knowledge you can have. There's ways to be. And I take great pride in saying that I've encouraged quite a few women to either continue doing what they're doing and get better at it, or to excel. And in fact, an example of that is I'm on the board and a consultant for a local Ecuadorian animal hospital, a nonprofit. And we have proudly all female doctors, all female veterinarians,
Wow.
and female owner, and a female executive director. And we are kicking butt.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really exciting.
Especially in Ecuador.
And what about the programs? This is just sort of as an aside, but what about the veterinary programs? Are they male dominated? Are they trying to include more women, or is it becoming more equitable?
You know, I don't want to
Maybe you don't know, but
step in it too much with
yeah,
the state of things right
yeah,
now,
okay,
how the laws are going, but I'm hoping it continues towards more equality
yeah, yeah,
and not go backwards, because
yeah.
sometimes things seem to be going backwards, but you never know.
Yeah, that's really that's an awesome story of, and elevating women's place, especially in other countries. And I don't know what Ecuador's, or other uh, South American, I don't, or is that some, what other South American countries, economies and work laws and so forth are like, but it's always great to hear when women are being lifted up, for sure. Yeah, elevating the quality of life and the standard of living and what they can expect. Yeah, beautiful. Some fun fact or personal trivia about yourself.
Oh my goodness, you're going to ask that, and I didn't think about it enough.
We should have left Ecuador alone.
No, it's okay.
That might have been the fun fact.
So I don't know if I have anything that's really truly interesting to anybody else, but I love, so I was a scuba diver instructor for a while.
Oh,
And
wow.
I still
Okay.
love scuba diving, but I would actually love to live underwater.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I I have not heard this one before.
Yeah, I've even gone so far as to research it, and they have like these little, well, they're not little, but these boats that you can buy that are houses, and half the house is underwater and half the house is above.
Oh my
That
God,
would
I
be
love
so
that.
cool.
That's really neat. Did you do that in Hawaii?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
did. I was scuba dive instructor in Hawaii. Mhm.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you've had a very storied career, trying all different kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, this has been so wonderful to have you come on and talk to me about your journey with being introverted and the ways that you were able to um, excel in spite of it, and still, call in your gifts and have those show up front and center while you were getting more comfortable putting yourself front and center. Yeah. Yeah, I really,
think
I really feel like I could relate to this because I've heard a lot about when it comes to introverts and extroverts, most of us have both qualities. Not everyone, but many of us have both qualities, and there's usually it's weighted more on one aspect than the other. And just when I think that I'm more extroverted, I feel more introverted, and vice versa. And so I often will feel like I'm an extrovert by wanting to push myself out there. But then when I'm out there, then I have these introverted tendencies come up, and maybe they show up as confidence, or maybe they show up as esteem in my life, and things that I've overcome personally regarding self-confidence and self-esteem and self-love, and having a mindset of belief in yourself. I think I might have cut you off. You were going to say something.
No, I was just listening.
So yeah, I think that we all have pieces of that within us that we can learn from that. So I think that that's a really important thing to remember. And I think just in business in general, it's like I said, to your point, listening, you don't have to be the person that is on the stage performing. You really can let your client take the driver's seat, and take center stage and tell you what they're looking for. And it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's awesome. That's awesome. Lynn, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you. Have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you again next time. Take care.